Hey everybody, Michele Granberg here. Welcome to Positive Energy, enlightening television for the evolving soul. Our topic on this show is the power of drumming. The rhythm of a drum, like a heartbeat, touches something deep inside of us, stirring our body and awakening our spirit. On this show, Mark Wood is going to explain why drumming is so powerful and how it helps people with emotional, mental, and physical disabilities. Stay tuned. Positive Energy starts right now. Hey Mark, welcome to Positive Energy.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine.
Start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you came to discover drumming for yourself.
Well, I've been a musician all my life. I started very young, and as I grew up, I started playing set drums, and from there, got into a lot of different bands, played all kinds of different music. The last band that I was in was a punk band, and it just wasn't working for me. You know, we were pretty popular, did a lot of shows, did some tours, did a record, had a record deal, you know, the whole bit. It just wasn't working for me. So I kind of gave that up, took a little hiatus, started playing Latin percussion. My brother's been playing djembe for years and years and years before it was cool, and kind of got inspired by that and figured, oh, this is a good way I can just throw a drum over my shoulder and take it to a circle and I'll be good. Well, I have more gear now than I've ever had. So
You have like 3 rooms full of like
pretty much
gear and drums.
Yeah, pretty much. And I have a storefront now, so I have that full of drums along with my storage, the stuff that I take along with me. But I started playing djembe just for fun, going to drum circles and, you know, doing all that. And then I got called to do some work at a cancer center, actually not far from here in Bedminster. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. So my career pretty much found me. When I got on the path, it was pretty much one of those things where I wasn't looking for it. It just kind of fell in my lap, so to speak. And
that's when you really know something is so lined up with some bigger purpose.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, for me, it's about simplicity. You know, African drumming in and of itself is based on simplicity. So it's really simple. So the more you play and the more you learn the pieces and parts, you realize that individually all the parts are very simple. But you can take it back into your life and say, you know, it really, you can overcomplicate things very quickly. And as Western people, we overcomplicate everything, you know. So, you know, for me, it's like, why are we all here anyway? You know, why are we here? What's to get a good job, to buy a better car, to buy a bigger house, you know, like it's about really having a purpose in what you do. Yeah. So I really believe that I have a purpose in what I'm doing, and it's you know, helping people is just a great thing, you know.
I agree. You know? It's a great message overall too, because as I say, look for your bliss, find your bliss, follow your bliss, follow what you're most passionate about, follow what you love, and the rest really does come. So we're surrounded by these beautiful West African drums, and I know, did you have a teacher in West Africa, or?
Yeah, I have a few teachers. Actually, my main teacher right now, his name is Mustafa Jiju, and he's from Senegal. And then I have another teacher his name is Amadou Diallo, who is from Guinea. And I've studied with Bemba Magura from Conakry, Guinea, West Africa, and Michael Marcus, who is actually from New York City, but is Bemba's protege. So I studied with him for a very long time. Very inspirational guy, great teacher. So, and there's a really nice studio around here called the Lawrenceville Drum and Dance Learning Center. So if people are interested in about doing this and want to kind of, you know, kind of go down that road, it's right in your backyard. So if you want to learn,
it's closer than people imagine.
Yeah.
There really is a lot more available even in the last 10, 15 years.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of drumming just coming in to the mainstream, and you're finding it, and you have that direct experience yourself because you're in some very mainstream environments.
Yeah.
So I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the benefits of drumming because there's actual science behind all of this. But say a little bit more about your sort of mission and what you hope to achieve as a drum teacher, as a drum facilitator.
Well, as a facilitator or practitioner,
Drum therapy.
yeah, well, you can't say that. It's therapeutic drumming.
Okay.
It's my mission is really just to bring awareness. There are a lot of people who facilitate drum circles. There are a lot of people that do some of the work that I do. It all has great value. And there is so much work available for people. And there's, unfortunately, because it isn't mainstream yet, there's not a whole lot of money, but it's not about the money. You got to get the awareness out to make the money come. Everybody needs this. I don't care what anybody says, everybody needs this. Even if you're not really into drumming, just to go to a circle and be a part of it and dance and just be a part of the community. My catchphrase for my business is promoting unity through drumming, and that's really what it's all about. So it all comes from the African culture,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because you can feel it. It's such a direct experience. It's like nothing else in that. There's no delay. It literally shifts in the moment the way you feel. Your mood goes up. Your stress goes down. I mean, who needs the evidence, even though it exists?
Well, that is the evidence. The evidence is that, this works. Drumming is one of the few things that activates your whole brain. So it puts us in that alpha theta brain state, which is very meditative, but it's also focused. It's being present. And then, these groovy chemicals that come out of our brain. My friend Eric that's here, he always says home cooking, it's the best. So that's what makes you feel good. It's those chemicals that make us
the happy chemicals, the endorphins, the serotonin, all of that.
All that good stuff.
It gets all of that going.
Yeah.
So I know that you work with various populations.
I do.
And I think it's absolutely wonderful and very interesting. People with physical disabilities, maybe mental and emotional disabilities and challenges, both adults and children.
Yes.
Some who are blind and even in hospital settings, people with cancer.
Right.
So what can you say about that to help people understand what that looks like, what that entails, and how it helps them, how it strives to help them at least?
Well, I work in a lot of different demographics. Blind, deaf, chronic psychological in a psychological hospital, mental health IOPs, which are intensive outpatients, chemical dependency, recovery. I work for a place called the Vision Loss Alliance, which later on you'll see one of my students from there is here. Again, it's the bottom basic scenario is putting people in a community setting, making them feel they belong, making them feel that they have a purpose, that they're included. Drumming, there's no hierarchy. It's really all about everybody is important. Each person plays an important role in what we do. So being able to kind of have that as an example is a really, a good way that helps. And again, we go back to the scientific evidence base. As a practice, this is done, it lowers your cortisol levels, increases your immune system. So these are all the things that it does as a practice. If we do it once in a while, it's a lot of fun, but it's like anything.
It's like meditation or
Right.
exercising. It's really over the long term that you really reap the most benefit.
Right. Probably one of the most rewarding things that I do is I work for Atlantic Health Medical Center. So giving a shout out to my old behavioral health peeps in Morristown. I've worked with them in Atlantic Health since 2006. In the last couple of years, I've been in their behavioral health, which is chemical dependency and IOPs. And it really, it's not just the drumming. They do yoga, they do drumming, they do meditation, they do mindfulness. So it's all these things that they bring in, and it really, everybody picks their own thing that they really like. Not to pat myself on the back, but my classes are usually the biggest ones because it's something where people can cut loose. And they can feel like they can be silly, act silly, they can kind of be themselves.
It's encouraged.
Yeah. And it's
to be spontaneous, to go with the flow
and be in the moment.
And the rhythm just does that. It just sparks that. I mean, it just stirs things up. That makes you want, whenever I go to drum circles, I laugh, we all laugh, we break out in spontaneous laughter, jokes are flying. It's just the nature of the feel of the rhythm that is doing something very primal within us. So we laugh, we sing, right? We move.
Yeah.
You can't help yourself.
No, because it is in us, and we are rhythmic beings, and it is very primitive. The drums themselves, to this day, are made the same way that they made thousands of years ago. They're all made by hand. They're played by hand. So, and you know, if you're a drummer, and the drummers out there will understand, you develop a relationship with your instrument. You know, so for me, it's the vehicle to my soul. So it's the way to express yourself with by using a drum.
Yeah,
so it's how you speak. You know, it's how we communicate non-verbally.
It's a form of communication.
Absolutely.
And it's literally used that way. I guess in some cultures and traditions, they speak and communicate even at a distance through the drum beat.
Yeah, the drums are actually, the way they're made, call it the magic of it. The sound carries a tremendous distance. Nowadays, I mean, when I was in Africa, everybody had a cell phone, but years ago, it was in the villages, they would use the drum for calls to call the people in the village together. Here in America, we gather and we drum. In Africa, they drum, right? They drum to gather, right? So they drum, they call each other together. Here in America, we come together and we bring drums.
So if we went to West Africa, would we see all over? I mean, on every corner.
Oh yeah.
Would we see people with djembes?
Just pretty much.
On the bus stops, on the buses, in the restaurants, probably. I'm imagining.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much wherever you go, it's there.
Into.
When I was there, we would lay outside in the middle of 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We could hear drums off in the distance because people would be in the forest, playing. And then at 5 a.m. you'd hear the first prayer from the mosque. It was the coolest thing ever. But then you go to the marketplaces and they're building them and they're playing, and I got an opportunity to play with all these people that didn't speak a lick of English, and they were just smiling and laughing, and I sat behind a drum and played with them, and it was just magical. I mean, it was just the coolest thing ever. So
when you talk about it, of course, you kind of feel how much you love it and how much it affects you. How has it changed or transformed your life personally? I mean, what can you say is the difference?
That's a bold...
How much time do we have?
Yeah, right. Well, I used to be a different person. I was totally into rock and roll and punk and,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, but it was different. It was very one-sided, and, I didn't know a lot about the, integrative health and medicine and all that stuff. And, when you get into this, you find these people that are in that. They're yoga teachers, or they're meditative people or whatever, and they're all in that community. So the community is bigger than just drumming. There's other people that just come, and some just dance. But for me, it's just it's very balancing for me. It's now my wife always says, you have trouble balancing. I'm a little obsessed by drumming because it's what I do every day. It's
grounding, centering, balancing, gets you back to yourself, your roots, connects you to the earth, all of those.
Keeps you healthy.
Yeah.
People don't know it.
That's why you're so healthy.
Yeah, I'm 102 years old. You wouldn't know it, right?
All to the power of drumming.
Yeah, right. See that?
The evidence, you're living it right then and there. So what are you up to currently? Do you share anything about your current drum circles, or anything you'd like to share about where people can see you, or if they want to come join a drum circle?
Yeah, well, they can always come. I do 2 locally. I do one at the Princeton Center for Health and Yoga in Skillman, the first Saturday of every night, and in the summertime, it's just a fire circle. And the 3rd Saturday of every month, I'm at a place called Essential Wellness in Bridgewater. So the one in Bridgewater is from 7 to 9. The one in Skillman is from 8 to 10. And then my community stuff, I don't do a whole lot of anymore. I like to keep my hands in it because I want to stay connected to the community, but 90% of my work is in hospitals and in schools and all that stuff. So I know you would ask me for some pictures, and it's like I don't have a lot because I'm not allowed to take them.
Yeah. You're in very clinical settings, in other words.
Yeah.
Where you're working with people. So
yeah. Yep.
Nonetheless, we can kind of imagine, and kind of check that out. So just mention your website now. Your website is?
My website is www.woodendrums.com. No E in wooden.
So people can track you down there and see where you are and check out some of the things you're doing. Now, did you make these drums? Did you make any of these drums? Because I know you also make drums.
I do build them. People say that they're drum builders. Basically what I do is the shell comes from Africa because the shells are hand cut. And if you go on my website, there's actually a snippet of these guys carving these drums out with these primitive looking axes. And that's how they start with a log, and then they chop it all up, and they cut the hole, and they get it all round and all that stuff, and then it goes to different carvers, and then it goes to a rope guy. So what I do when I get the raw shell is I'll make the rings that go on top. There's 3 rings, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and then they have to be roped so it holds the rope to hold the head, and then it's usually skinned with goat skin, cow skin, mule skin. Okay. So this is the Ashiko, synthetic head, holes on the bottom, a little bit taller. So this is from Nigeria. And then we have, here I'll start here. We'll start with the djembe. So this is my djembe. This is the goat skin. And again, this is, all roped, and that's how you tune it. It's all hand carved, right? This is my strap, this is how I hold it. So put this back here. And then I'll come over here and grab this one. So this is a Tubano from Remo. Again, synthetic head. And there's, this has got a little bit of this has got a tube inside of it, that's hence Tubano. And then, don't step on the mic cord. Here is the dun-dun. So this has 2 heads on it. This is cow skin. This has had 2 heads on it. And this is played with sticks. The dun-dun is what creates the pulse. So in the dance, in the tradition of African music, you have djembes, you have dun-duns, you might have shakerays, you have bells. There's a lot to it. But the dun-dun is where the pulse is. That's where the dancers.
The heartbeat.
Right. That's where they find their
keeps it together.
groove.
You had to find that rhythm.
Yeah.
And there's the whole idea of entrainment, sort of the idea that somehow magically or subconsciously, when folks drum together, eventually there's synergy, or pretty quickly there's some synergy between the rhythms.
Yeah. Well, it's our brain.
It's the way we're wired.
It's just, we are wired, and it's to really tap into that. People say to me all the time, I have no rhythm. Yes, you do. You do have it. You just have to get it out. The problem is that, again, we're always from here up. We're not from here down. Yeah. When we're going to work and we're paying our bills and doing all this stuff, it's always here up. When you watch a little kid pick up a drum, you can pretty much tell them to do whatever you want them to do, and they'll do it because they have that free spirit. We lose that after a certain point.
Right. We're living in our heads, not in our bodies in
way
the present.
Too much.
Drumming guides us gently.
Brings us there.
Yeah.
It brings us there whether you want to or not. If you're open to it, again, it's not always for everybody, but and it's like anything. If you're open to it, you're going to get from it. It's going to come.
Well, I encourage people to try. If I could do it, anyone could do it.
Yeah.
So you brought some friends with you today.
I did.
And you are all going to play for us.
Indeed,
for our audience. So I'm very excited. So say who you brought. What are the names of the folks you brought today?
The folks that I brought today are people that have, I have to say, I couldn't have gone down this journey by myself. There's a lot of people that have supported me. Number one is my wife. Without her support and
shout out to your wife.
Yeah, big time. I would have never been in the place that I am today. So thanks for supporting that. My friend Eric Philo, who is going to be playing these drums, has been with me since day one. And then as time progressed, we met Ed Ashton. He came to a Princeton drum circle long ago, and now he's playing everywhere and everything. And then the newest addition is Carrie Loftus, who is a student at Vision Loss Alliance, who is started to play with me a little while ago as one of my students, and now is subbing for a lot of my classes. She assists me on a lot of gigs, so something she really enjoys to do, and she's really good at it. So, you know.
So we can expect some pretty raucous rhythms.
Oh yeah,
from the gang of you.
Yeah, well, it's what we do. It's what we love.
The band, the rhythm band.
Yeah.
So would you like to leave us with any other final words that you'd like? What would you most want people to know about drumming? If they could know anything at all, how would you inspire them?
Well, I think it's like anything. I think people need to try something different. You know, and drumming in and of itself is a great thing to do, and it's about reconnecting people. And I think the biggest problem we have in today's society is that we're so connected technologically that we're disconnected as a community. So this is just one venue where you can, or one medium that you can kind of come together as people and be people and energetically connect and look at each other and talk to one another with an instrument and kind of be that silly self. You know, we forgot how to play. We forgot how to play.
So let's get that back.
Yeah.
Let's create community through drumming. That's your mission,
exactly.
right? Unity
through drumming.
Through drumming.
Correct.
Well, thank you, Mark, for being here, and we're going to look
pleasure.
forward right now to hearing and jamming with some rhythms with you.
Right on.
Thanks. we're wrapping up another lively and enlightening show. When you go out and try some drumming, be sure to let me know. Thanks for watching. Be kind to one another. Remember to breathe, and join me next time on Positive Energy.